Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you for joining me. Today is a SCRAWLRBOX day, yay! It did take a little longer to receive it, but I guess given the circumstances right now, that's not so bad, I'll let them off. But yes, today is a SCRAWLRBOX, it is for May 2020, and oh boy, we have charcoal, and you know my feelings on sort of powdery, crumbly mediums. I'm not a fan, but I shall be a good sport, I shall play nicely, and we will do this. This month's artist is Phoebe Crips, and really nice picture, nice to work from. I wonder if I can get anywhere near that. So in this month's box we've got the magazine as usual. We have Coats Willow charcoal sticks, and we've got a thin one and a not as thin one. The next one is a sea white black compressed charcoal block, and obviously you've got your pointy corners on there as well as the ability to draw on large areas. We also have a Kohinoor Gikonda charcoal pencil, that's pretty self-explanatory. We have the Lyra Rembrandt chalk pencils, and we have that in a sepia and in a white. The Lyra Rembrandt Splendor pencil. A Winsor & Newton medium kneaded putty eraser. A Faber-Castell Perfection eraser pencil, and that's got twin ends. One's got a squidgier end and the other's a bit firmer. We have the Comb Magnesium double hole pencil sharpener. The surface we're working on is the Paint On Grey A5 pad, and that's a Claire Fontaine brand. And today's prompt is Carbon Heroes. Oh boy. So I wasn't massively sure what to do for this one. I'm not really a comic book hero kind of person. It has to really capture me for me to want to watch it. Now, I'm not against them. If it's already on the TV, I'll go and watch it, or if somebody wants to go and watch it, I'll go with them. But no, I'm struggled a little bit for this one. But I also thought I could do a bit of an anti-hero, so I went for drawing Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher. I thought this was quite a good choice. He's a bit of an anti-hero. He's still a hero, but an anti-hero, you know. And I quite enjoyed watching The Witcher, and I'm very slowly getting through the third one on Nintendo Switch. So I haven't massively followed the series as such, but I enjoyed the adaptation on Netflix, and enough to want to draw his picture at some point anyway. So this seemed like the perfect excuse. He's quite a monotone looking character, at least off this reference I've used anyway, and it just seemed to work out well. I think because you've got the contrast of his really pale white hair, and the shadows on him and the background, it just seemed to fit. And it's not very often do this, but you're actually watching me do one right from the start, so the proportions might be a little bit askew because I do have a very flat surface, but I tried my very best and I don't think I did a terrible job. I also forgot to mention we got some cotton buds or Q-tips wherever you're from in the world, and they're to assist with the smudging. And to be honest, I did use them, but I did also use my fingers as well, and I don't know, maybe there's a difference between charcoal and pastels. I tend to find the grains in chalk pastels a bit, grainier, whereas charcoal based mediums are a little bit more dusty, I will say. It was still very messy. I had to clean my hands so many times to avoid too much contamination, and I'll let you know now, I was wearing a white t-shirt while I did this, and I did very well not to get any on me. I mean, I got it all up my face, all up my arms, everywhere else, but the t-shirt survived, which I'm quite pleased about. And then I spilt some tea down it, so you know, I guess it was destined to happen one way or another, right? So getting back to using charcoal, I haven't properly used it really since my college days, which are more years than I care to remember right now ago. And very occasionally I'll take charcoal to life drawing, but again, I haven't done that for a number of years. So I am quite out of practice actually. But it was actually quite nice working with it, and it kind of came back to me the ropes on how to use it. So with the absence of not having regular HB lead pencil to draw with, I had to use the charcoal pencil very lightly to get those details in, and I didn't press on too hard because the charcoal pencil just seemed a little bit firmer than the willow charcoal, but I didn't want to spend ages filing that into a point because it would have made a mess as well. So what I tend to do when I use charcoal is very faintly get those facial details in. I also take advantage of the fact that this is a grey tone paper, so that mid-tone is already there, and for now all I need to work on is the shadows and the highlights, which I guess is the gist with charcoal. I did hit that stage where I needed to make sure that I was getting the shape of his head right and where the hair would be and everything, so what I decided to do was to use that Sea Bright charcoal brick and just fill in that background really quickly. Didn't use it too densely to start off with. Again, that's something I build up on later on, but that just allowed me to see where the hair would go. It gave me a rough idea on where to take those strokes with the white chalk pencil. I decided to use the sepia pencil because, well, it was there and I kind of guess I've got to use it, and I just used it to add a hint of face tone on there. It was a bit of a weird one having that in there with us having a grey tone paper, in my opinion anyway, because it was a mid-tone chalk charcoal, but it didn't really match the paper, and I don't feel like it really added anything to it, so I think it probably would have looked better at the end without it. I mean, luckily, because I'm drawing Geralt, he is quite, well, there's not much of a skin tone to him really off the picture I'm working from. The picture I'm working from is what I'm trying to say, didn't have a great deal of colour on his face, just enough to stand out, but pretty much everything else was a cool tone. The blending pencil, I don't know why we had that, to be honest, because it didn't really blend all that well. It didn't blend any, in fact it blended worse than using my finger or the Q-tip, and it didn't really add anything for it. I used these blending pencils for coloured pencils, that's all I really know, and they work brilliantly for that, but I think because it's quite a wax based pencil, it didn't massively agree with the chalk and charcoal, so it just seemed a bit redundant putting it in there, and I think that would be better with coloured pencils, so I think they were just filling the box up there. What I did find useful was the eraser pencil, and yeah, I've not used one of them before. I have dabbled with buying them, but I can't massively justify it because I don't solely work and just pencil all that much, or chalk and charcoal. So actually I was quite pleased to receive one of these. It's a dual-ended one, so there's a white end where the eraser on it is quite firm and it's a bit scratchier, and then on the other end is a slightly darker end, obviously to distinguish between the two, and that seemed this seemed a bit more given it was a softer tip, and that would probably be more useful for further projects, but I actually did find it useful on here. I wouldn't say I could have all that much control over it where I could erase very fine details back to the mid-tone paper, but it did lift it off quite well and it didn't interfere with the surface beneath. The Kneaded Eraser was a Kneaded Eraser. I've got several different brands that they kind of work the same for me. For this video I just cut a bit off for the chalk and charcoal because I actually want to use the rest of that eraser on other things without having to contaminate it. So that's sort of what I think about the contents. The paper I think could have had a bit more of a tooth to it. I think it's probably geared up more for coloured pencils or maybe a wash of ink. The charcoal did slide around a little bit, nothing terrible, but it did create It just created a few problems when it came to blending. It'd overly easily blend, and I don't know if that's a combination of my heavy-handedness as well, but I tend to work on something with a bit more of a grain or a tooth to it, so it grips the pigments. One thing I did find was an issue with this box, and I guess it has been in transit, so this is a risk of what happens, is that the chalk and the sepia pencil kept breaking every time I sharpened it. And if I be honest, the sharpener wasn't amazing either. I did try it on some other things and it just seemed like a bit of a grind. So it can't be helped really. I mean, I'm glad I could try it, but yeah, lead's breaking, not a brilliant sharpener. But you know what? Not a terrible box this month. Not my favourite medium by any means, but I actually quite like going down memory lane with the chalk and charcoal. I didn't like cleaning up the mess, mind you, but yeah, not a bad little box. Anyway, my lovelies, I do hope you have enjoyed this video. It's been nice to do something else off the back of May as well. I will be taking a break very soon. I might just pop one more video out this week for the Himi horoscope, and then more than likely the week after that I probably won't upload anything because it is my birthday and I want to just chill for a bit. Anyway, my lovelies, as always, thank you for watching. If you are new to this channel, why not hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date on future unboxings, etc, etc. Of course, if you enjoyed this video as well, why not give me a big old thumbs up and drop anything in the comments what you think about this video. Anyway, I will see you on the next one. Bye!